This is Kerry Stidham, Shane Stidham, and I'm evaluating the paper of Jack Hobbs, where he asked the question, is the Bible truly reliable? And in here, Jack does a good job of talking about the biblical manuscripts and how they prove the reliability of the Bible. The paper appears to be well written and with some really good info that explains, the process of how Scripture came to be, and he did a really good job of describing all of that in the Dead Sea Scrolls and in finding them, what it proved, and some of the questions also that were raised when they were found. But this is a very vast subject in proving the reliability, because there's so many questions and just so many things that you could cover in this. But he did a really good job of including a lot of different things in his research of this. Like I said, it was well written. There are just a few grammatical things that on page 1 he was repetitive in starting a couple of sentences, spacing on some headers, and where he said triple spaced, it was only double spaced, and on page 14 and a couple other places, the period was outside the quotations, and just some small stuff, but a really good job of writing the paper. The sources appeared to be really good sources and very well evaluated. It appears he proved his point on a couple of different levels. The research is very thorough. Not just the finding of the manuscripts, but for instance, how there's like 1,000 of the scrolls up to 1836. In the next 100 years, that number grew from 1,000 to 5,000. I thought that was very interesting, and so he researched this. He touched on the canon of the Bible and kind of how it came to be, and also touched on the scribes and how thorough the scribes of this day would be when we find these things that the scribes have written, and just how important, how they articulated things, and how they really took their time, and it had to be right. It was not something that was just thrown together, and this just didn't happen overnight. It's a period of a long time. The Bible is written over 1,500 years, and with so many authors and those things, that what it really proved, what we really thought was interesting about this paper is, despite all of the in some of them there are variants in the writings and the interpretations and those things, and despite all those things, and you might think, well, this proves that it was not, but in spite of all the small variants that there are, the message of the message, the inerrancy, and all those things of the Bible has remained constant, giving us further proof that that these manuscripts do prove that the Scriptures are reliable. They're unchanging, as this message has remained constant. And I thought that he did a really good job on that. He laid it out very well, followed his table of contents, really followed his plan that he laid out in his thesis and those things. And I thought he did a very good job in writing this paper, proving the reliability of Scripture. But this is Shane Stidham. I'm evaluating the paper of Jack Hobbs.